Very good afternoon to one and all. With the blessings of God Almighty and the constant support and guidance given by our correspondent Dr. K.S. Lakshmi ma'am and our secretary Dr. K.S. Babai ma'am and the motivating force our principal Dr. P.K. Suresh and our dean academic Dr. K. Umarani ma'am. Today, the Department of ECE is conducting the first session of the webinar series. On behalf of ECE department, it is an honor and welcome you all for this event. I welcome the resource person Mr. E. Rajesh Kumar, Senior QA Engineer, NortonLifeLock. We are proud to inform you that he is our 2005 FAST alumni and President of MSEC Alumni Association. I welcome all the participants of this webinar. I welcome you all. Thank you. Now, resource person Mr. Rajesh Kumar will take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the kind introduction by ma'am. So a little bit before we get started, am I audible to everyone? I'm just going to wait for a couple of minutes to make sure that there is no messages coming in, and then I will start.
It's audible.
Okay, everything looks okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Rajesh, and I work as a senior QA engineer in NortonLifeLock, or formerly called Symantec Software. And as an interesting fact, you might know that I am in the same position that you are now about 16 years ago, when I was among the first batch of students from MSEC. I did my electronics and communication, and I have the same set of teachers that you have today. And if there is anything that I have gained so far in my life, I think it is definitely due to this institution and my school and the teachers that have come all along this time. So with that, let me start with today's talk, which is not going to be anything very heavy. It's going to be simply a conversation, mostly one way by me, but you are free to ask any questions. I will try to answer it either during the talk or during the question and answer sessions. But mostly it's just going to be a casual talk among us to see, now that you're all doing engineering, what next, or what is that you do after engineering, or how do you build a career after engineering. So I assume that there are students from all the three or the 4 years of the electronics and communication. So some part of the talk will be applicable to only to a few students, but in general, it's going to be a general talk. So now that you have got the introductions out of the way, let's see. Yes. And if you just want to speak, you can press the speak gesture, and I think your mic will open up. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I was in the same position as you were 16 years ago, and I would like to trade the space on the spot with you right now. I would gladly go back to college and do my engineering again. You ask why? That is what this talk will try to address. Now there will be the 7th and the 8th semester students, or the 6th semester students. Yes, Prachi? Sorry. So let's do this. Let's keep all our questions till the question and answer session, which will be just 20 or 30 minutes into this talk, and I'm sure all your mics will be open by then. Otherwise, it might get too distracted for all the attendees. So as I was saying, I would gladly swap my place with you right now and go back to college. And why? This is despite me having a fairly successful career after 15 years. So this is just looking back at what I did right and what I did wrong, and pass it on to you guys so that you pick what is needed and just leave what is not. So let's get the most important people in this room out of the way first, so that we can talk in detail. Um, the final year students or the pre-final year students who are on the cusp of leaving the college, there can be only be two questions in your mind. One, what after college? Basically, it will be a job. The second one, okay, if I'm going to do an higher studies, how do I go about it? Now, the people who are looking to do pursue their higher studies, I'm pretty sure you have already started your researches in terms of your friends who are already been there, or your family members already there, and you should already have an idea of what are you going to pursue and where you're going to pursue, be it here or abroad, and prepare accordingly. So those will be, I suppose, will be a small subset of people who I will address a little bit, because I myself did not do my a master's right away after my engineering. I did a couple of years of work, and then I did my master's in software systems from BITS Pilani. It was a work integrated course, but nevertheless. So if I had to suggest anyone, I would really suggest them to have that kind of an work experience initially, at least for a year or a year and a half or two, before they go into their higher studies. One, it helped me to understand what I want, or what is the scope of the industry which I'm working in, or what can you expect of a master's degree. So that would be my suggestion to anyone who asks me, should I do the masters right away, or take up a job and then do the masters. But if you have already clear cut in your mind that it is the masters you want to pursue, and which course you want to pursue, where you want to pursue, please go ahead. There is nothing like the clarity of mind. So that being said, let's come back to the jobs. So you everyone will be anxious in attending their first interviews, as I was. It might work for someone, it might not work for someone. All those things aside, there are certain common things which we need to understand. When you apply for this first job or your campus interview, be it in a core company or in any other allied branches, mostly it's going to be your software opportunities, or there'll be a few core companies come in. You will not be expected to know anything and everything. So that is what you have to drill down to your head. If anything that the interview is looking for in you is your basics. Very, very basics is what any interview who's there to interview for a fresher role is that's all what he is expecting. A very basic knowledge of the 4 years of engineering in general, what you do. It could be something like how a particular circuit works, or particular device works, or how a switch works, and also how do you apply the concept of switches to other things. So if you are comfortable at that level, then you are in a pretty good position than the rest of all. If you are not, no problem. It all takes only a very few dedicated hours to get into the basics, refresh them, and you are set. Now, this is something which can be learned. That is, you can refer books, websites, listen to talks, talk to people, and gather this skill set or this information. The other two things which usually the interviewers or the companies look for are the attitude and communication. Now, these two things cannot be taught. You can be pointed out, but you cannot be taught. And these are as essential as knowing your basics. When I mean attitude, it is simply saying, are you receptive and are you willing to learn? That is what an interview will look for you, or any company will look for you, no matter fresher or you're applying for the subsequent higher positions later in your career. But that is what one of the key factors which goes in saying that, are you, will you learn? Given an opportunity, will you learn? And that is more important. Now, this thing cannot be taught to you in college. It is something you imbibe or other persons observe, and they tell you and you improve upon it. So I urge you to kind of inculcate this attitude that you can learn. And there is no better place to inculcate this habit of attitude or this virtue of attitude other than your college or school. The moment you step outside the college, you are going to be treated as an adult. You like it or not. In college, you can get away with few things, maybe at home, but once you step into a professional environment, you are expected certain things, and more often than not, you are not cut any slack. So your attitude, which you inculcate for the 4 years, is going to be a big plus point when you enter your professional career. So you have a good attitude, keep it up, and if you are working on it, please do work on it. The third point is communication. I cannot stress enough. You might be the most brilliant person in the room. You might have all the technical knowledges. You might have all the attitude that is necessary for you to be successful. But if you cannot put forth your ideas, it is going to be very difficult in this competitive world. I myself have faced this problem. Believe it or not, I am not a very outgoing and an extrovert person. I am an introvert person. I don't talk. If you give me a group of 10 people in person, I will not talk. I will simply listen and walk away. But once I realized that is going to be a glitch and it is not going to help me, I practiced upon it. I used every opportunity that I got to communicate, to put forth my ideas, and that has helped me immensely. So the opportunities like that are given in colleges, maybe in terms of your seminars or your the other activities which you do. Please do not feel shy. There is no right, there is no wrong. At the end of the day, people might make fun of you, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you will come better. So your communication is very important as your attitude and as your technical skills. If you cannot put forward your ideas, it really does not help the situation or yourself. So work on it, the communication. So that is all you have got to do. The third and the fourth years. The third years have little bit of time. The fourth years, catch up, work on your basics, get to know your basics, develop your attitude, which you put forth as willing to learn, and you have to practice it. If given an opportunity, you should be willing to learn fast. And your communication, put forth your ideas. I know it is very easy to say, but difficult to practice. But use this time which you have in college to develop your communication skills. When I say communication, it's just not in a blanket world called soft skills. No, that is not what I'm talking about. If you are asked to explain an idea, or you have given a difficult situation in an interview, how you approach the problem, how you communicate with the interviewer, how you ask the right questions are all the ones which are taken into the consideration. Your problem, the correct answer for the problem is carries a very, very light weightage, in my opinion. If I was the interviewer, it really would not matter to me if you got the right answer, as much as the approach that you took, the clarity which you communicated, and the confidence that you had in doing that. And when you're wrong, accept that when you're wrong. So these are all the traits which is looked for. Even if you're wrong with the answer, I think you can get by. And there's a and this, I think most people would definitely agree with this. So that's all you have got to do for a final year student who is preparing himself to get a job, and that's not going to be very difficult. Now this is the part what you have to play. Now what are the other, this is not the end of this particular situation. There are other aspects of the situation. Now, okay, you are prepared for the job, but where do you get the job? That's where you have to do a little bit of research to find out what are all the scope or what are all the companies that you have, and delegate that work to the respective person in the college, maybe the placement officer, or let them know these are all the kinds things that you're working for. I'm pretty sure the staff and the alumni, as we will be helping you to narrow down those the companies or the list of companies that are there in which you can definitely apply. Maybe not everyone will come for a campus recruitment, but we can definitely find an avenue where you can apply for these things. Okay, so there are two things we handle. We know what we need to do if I'm trying to get a job. That's my basics. Have a good attitude and communicate my ideas clear. And now I have all the companies or the avenues or the opportunities that I can apply to. Now what do I do now? You apply there, and there are other things which will make you to stand out in that particular pile of applications, if I may. And that is where you can use the facilities which is being provided by the colleges and the 4 years of time what you be here to kind of build your career, or the basic traits which you have in your career. Technically, if you ask me, I would say trying to write a technical paper is one of the good to have, or good to have skills you should do. You should know how to do your research. Now what these things force you to do is plan your activities, which is a vital step in your professional world. So tomorrow you land up in a job and they give you a particular job. You will have your deadlines. You have to figure out how to do it. You have to collaborate with people. You have to talk to people. All those things. And so, if you are not going, if you are not going to plan how you are going to attack that problem, or carry out your day-to-day activities, it is going to be very difficult for you to succeed. You will see that the people around you who are competitive are going to bounce on that opportunity. So what you have in the 4 years will give you the time to fail, and fail safely. No one is going to get mad, or there are not going to be any untoward consequences if you uh, kind of miss an assignment, or don't submit a paper. But if you are able to do those activities, plan your activities, and do the research. When I say research, it's not just, okay, I go to Google, I search for a topic, I see the first 3 links and take it and do it. No, that's not research how it works. You take a topic, you find as much as facts and information about the topic, you collate it, you understand it, and then you come to your own conclusion. You don't just draw a conclusion of what one website has said or 2 website has said. You take in, collate, analyze, and then you come to a conclusion of your own. Now this is going to develop your skills, your understanding skills, and there are a lot of things which comes into question: how you organize your data, or how you plan to do your data. So all these things come, which are very, very essential in later in your professional life. Yesterday I was talking to a friend of mine, also a junior from our college, and many of you might know him, Kishore. He did his first job in Qualcomm, and his job was to test a particular component, or a processor. Now he was just explaining to me how that was doing it. I have no experience in electronics, because I switched to a software career in the beginning of the thing, but I was able to understand what he's saying, not because I know about electronics, because I know how to organize things, how to organize the information and analyze it and come to my own conclusion and understand it. So that's the trait what you have to kind of imbibe, which will help in later part in your professional life. Okay, I'm just gonna look at my notes and see, is there any questions at this point of time? I have a couple of hands going up. Okay, someone is asking, sir, core companies like Honeywell, Bosch, Schneider Electronics will recruit freshers? Yes, everyone recruit freshers. So that is a nice segue into the next topic that we can discuss, is how do these industries operate, or what are the different stratas in an industry, be it software, be it core companies, or any other companies for that matter. They need people to work, so they have to hire people, and people are hired across various levels, but the most hiring happens either at the low or the mid levels. So yes, the companies like Honeywell, Bosch, those things will recruit freshers. They might be less, but they definitely recruit freshers. Mostly they might ask for an master's degree, but they do definitely hire people. The reason why they do master's degree is just as a gating mechanism, just to minimize the number of profiles that they have to sort through and get this. So it would be a good idea to build your networks while in college. I know some friends of me who are extremely good at networking. When I say networking, it is getting in touch with people, keeping in touch with them, and maybe they work in one of these companies. You can touch with them, get to know how they hire, what is their hiring process, or what you have to acquire to get hired. But that skill is also a vital skill which you have to improve. So yes. Okay, would you list some fields and jobs courses that are expected to be important in the next 3 or 4 years? If you're talking about electronics, I think your design, your VLSI, and developing most powerful processors are, I think those are always will be on a high, because everything we need today works on computers, and guess what computer works on? Chips. Yes. So there will be this constant growth in the field of electronics. Particularly, it will be in design and validations, and also in fabrication. I don't know. As far as I know, in India, the scenario of fabrication is very nascent, but they are definitely. India is a very important hub for your research and development, and also your test and validations, which is a very good place to start. So yeah, so those things in terms of your core areas. Um, my personal opinion is that the engineering in coming years is going to be an interdisciplinary. Uh, it's going to be interdisciplinary. You're going to have your data, your data, your machine learning, and your artificial intelligence in every field of engineering that we know. So that really does not mean that it is a pure computer science job. I want to become a data analyst. I want to become an machine learning engineer. I want to become an artificial intelligence engineer. No, it is the computers and the programs are just a tool which can be used in any number of all the fields that we see. So a biotech company would need machine learning for a different reason from a machine learning which and maybe a mechanical company needs. Um, so that differs. So yeah, the electronics part of it, the fabrication, the design is going to stay long. It is. I don't think we will ever have a bump on it. But if you see the emerging fields, it is going to be mostly in terms of your machine learning, artificial intelligence, which is being used as a tool to solve the problems in the industries. Okay, I don't think you have to worry about the pandemic and kind of hiring after pandemic. It is a very temporary situation, maybe bad, but things will creep back to normal. It might take a little bit of time, but the hirings will definitely be back. Um, so if I were you, I would really not worry about it. Rather than I use this time to sharpen my skill set. Now, how do I do sharpen your skill set? I'm pretty sure many of you have heard about the MOOCs or the online courses which are going on. I would I would use this time as an opportunity to look into it. Um, if there are free certifications about there, or the certifications for certain things are very minimal or very moderate, maybe you can use those things and get yourself acquainted with that that field of study. Let's say, for example, machine learning, which is one of the hottest topics that you have in the market today. You don't have to master it. You cannot master it. That's what I mean. If someone comes to me and says that I know machine learning, I know artificial intelligence, and I have mastered it, I will quietly congratulate him and send him away. I would not think too much of him, because it is a very nascent field, and it is a tool people are still finding about how to apply it and do. So as a whole, if you see from a very high level, it is still a very nascent field. So get acquainted with it, how it works, or what are all the things that it takes. And then once you have acquainted with it, get to know the kind of problems it is trying to solve. So I'll tell you, in one of the conferences, I met a person. We were just talking. I really did not know him, but during the break time, I was talking to him, and he was. So we were just exchanging what we were doing, and what is doing working and all those things. So during the conversation, he said he works on the machine learning and artificial intelligence. I said, wow. I asked, what do you work on? He said, I write a program or for a company which the kiosks which are kept in the PVR cinemas. The PVR cinemas are where they dispense popcorn. It basically gives you an option of popcorns and collects some basic information and processes your payment. So he was working on it, and he was using machine learning to do it. My simple question was, why are you using machine learning to vend popcorns? I wouldn't do that. So you see that it would become very glamorous at this point of time for anyone and everyone to say, hey, we are into machine learning, we are into artificial intelligence. Tread carefully. Get to know the kind of problems that are worth solving using machine learning or artificial intelligence, and align accordingly. Otherwise, it is going to be a very you will get into this hype cycle, and you'll fall flat when that hype cycle goes down. So that's there. Yes, most of the the most of the companies will recruit from the tier one colleges. So there are two ways to solve this problem. You people can become the tier one college. I think you are on the road to do it. So maybe not for you, but somewhere down the line we will be among the tier one colleges, and that problem will go off. But students are students everywhere. Yes, some people might be brilliant than me. Um, some people might not be as brilliant as me, but that is not how recruiters or the companies will see people. No matter how brilliant you are, you will have to go through their training processes, what their companies is doing, tools that they are using, get acquainted, and then start your work. It is not like day one you work and you are thrown into a project and do. That will not happen unless and until you are in some software company, um, which is just starting up, or a startup where you have to pick up and run. But those are very, very small outliers. You really don't have to worry about that. But there are things that you can do to get noticed, even if you're not from tier one colleges. I will just tell them in a little while what you can do. Okay, resume for a fresher, it is just going to be a marks and probably your hobbies, and maybe the mini projects that you've worked on. That's all. Um, Resumes are not a good way, or it is just to know your name. If I were a recruiter, if I have your resume, I will just use it to know your name. But then it's going to be the three things: your basics, your attitude, and your communication. So uh, yes, you have to make your resumes noticeable, but there are ways to do it. Instead of resumes, what I would do is work on. So see it this way: if you have to have a good resume, you have to have something good to put on it. And what good can you put on it in the 4 years of college? Now think it that way. You have to do some exciting and interesting projects. You have to show tangible results or outcomes, or you have to write your papers. Now what these things do is tell them that you're strong in your basics, that is your projects, and now you execute your projects. And in terms of having a tangible results, it will tell them that you are strong in your basics, you know your stuff. The how you present your ideas or write your papers, or maybe let's say you maintain a blog. I would encourage everyone to maintain a blog. Maybe you should ask some of your computer science friends to set up a blog servers for you, or use a blog which of your liking. So maintain a blog, just your musings. You then look at the other successful blogs, how they are, maintain it. So or if you're really into this thing, you have, if you're a computer science student, you have your GitHubs, or if you have your design, there are a lot of design sites in which you can validate your designs, so you can maintain this online record. And if you mention those links in your resume or in your LinkedIn profile, everyone can even sign up for a LinkedIn profile, which help in later point of time. But again, it depends on how do you want to do it. Again, it it might be interesting for some, but more often than not, LinkedIn is no more than a glorified resume. So yes, so the nice way to think about it is, yes, you will need your resume to get noticed, but what do you put into your resume to make it more interesting? and that's the time in college that you can use to do it. So it again goes back to your basics, your attitude, and your communication in terms of um, um, the projects that you do, how you are putting forth your ideas and managing the results, and how you write your technical papers. Because writing a 4 pages of PowerPoint or 2 pages of A4 sheet is not a technical paper. You have to define a problem. You have to define and outlay uh, an experiment or a system which you followed. You have to collect data, you have to organize the data, and you have to draw the conclusion from the data and present it. And that is what a technical paper means. So when you are able to do it, there are a lot of things that you imbibe from it, including your attitude and your communication skills and your technical skills. So that should be the way to go. Okay, I'm going to pause a little bit here on the questions and go back to certain things I just wanted to cover, and I will come back to the question. So the last question I answered was for Bharat. So Vikram, Shweta, Akash, Prachi, Mohammed, please hold with me, bear with me, and I will just get back to you. Okay, so we talked a bit, and we answered few questions. Then there are a few among us who are really interested to be entrepreneurs, or we have our own ideas, and we like to take it abroad. It is a very good place to be if you are in a college and you have such ideas to pursue. But again, you have to have the above two layers, that is your basics, your technicals, your communication, all at a pretty good high level, and then you have the ideas and you have the ability to ideate them. It is an acquired skill. Everyone has the capacity to think. It just needs a proper way to think. There are n number of books which I can suggest, which will put you in this way. But yeah, if you are someone who wants to become an entrepreneur, he has his own ideas. Keep it up. Do carry on it. And what are the traits of such person? I would definitely say, apart from the technicals, what he has the attitude which is needed. That is, he has to be a bit um, fearless, a bit extrovert, outgoing, talking to people, bouncing his ideas off. He should have an appetite for risk. That is, yes, I might fail, but that's okay. That kind of an appetite for risk he should have. And to a little bit of amount leadership quality, or this can be classified as your ability to collaborate with others. Now, this ability to collaborate others is mostly taken very lightly in our college environment. Um, but if you ask us to do some project, immediately we will join up with two of our friends. That's how I was. We'll join up with the two of our friends, and we will do the projects. Maybe 1% does, 2% does, and the third person is types out the report. Please get over it. Collaborate with people means different ideas when you move to your professional setup. So tomorrow, let's say you are sitting in your office and there is a problem, and you are asked to collaborate with some other team on it. The person there you would not know. You would have never talked to him. Then when you are all put into the same room, you should not be in a position, or you should be in a position where you readily understand the problem, understand the skill set of the people around you, and you propose the ideas, you brainstorm it, and accept when you're wrong, and tell other people when they are wrong. And when you arrive at a solution, you take up a part of it and pitch in like what you can do. So these are all the collaborative things, what is needed, and to a bit is what leadership. If you can make on organize 2 or 3 people team, then good, keep it on, keep it up. So you definitely have the have an edge over a few people who are pursuing similar dreams. So that's always there. So I wanted to talk about what you can expect when a job offer is made. Yes, you have cleared out your interviews. When you go into a professional setting, you are expected to be and work alone or without supervision. It will not happen in most of the Indian companies, but you should always act, even in college, like you will not be supervised. If you are able to um, be accountable to yourself and to the task that you have set for yourself, I think that is also one of the important traits that you should inculcate. Um, with anyone set over you to tell you, hey, that is you should be working today or this should be day. If you can do it by yourself, we should all be at that position by the time we give our the final job interviews, because that is what will happen. The moment you set into your office floor, you are expected to work independently with collaborating with others and knowing your technical details and communicating with your colleagues and everyone accordingly. So these are the things which I wanted to tell you. There are a few more. I'll answer a few more questions and come back to the last part. We have about 20 minutes or more, 15-20 minutes. So we will see. Okay, let's go back to the question. Vikram, I answered your question on resumes. Yes, work on the projects. Make it if you want to make your resume stand out, do things in back in college in terms of your presentations, your projects, and your papers. Shweta, how should we update? You mean your resume? First, do your projects, and then put it in a paper. If you are not able to translate what you have did into a paper, then you will have to work on the communication skill which I taught about. Or you could use any of the websites. You can maintain a blog, you can maintain a LinkedIn. That way you regularly post what you are up to, how do you arrive at thing, or how did you do a project, how did you solve a particular problem, and those things. You will learn it as you go by. How will NBA accreditation be useful to a student in college? Okay, so this is something more systemic. I might be wrong, but as far as I understand, it gives the institution more exposure and to the government in terms of the grants and the opportunities that are available for them. So that is very really important. Now, how this translates to a student or a particular branch is, let's say tomorrow the government is planning some a project. Okay, let me put it this way. Um, today we marvel at the Tesla cars, right? The Tesla self-driving cars. You know how that came into being? It is not that one fine morning Elon Musk woke up and said, "Okay, today I will set on a work which I'll make self-driving cars." No, it was out of a project for the American defense. So they have an yearly challenge where the goal was to develop autonomous vehicle and drive to the desert. So from the starting point to end point, they had to develop an autonomous vehicle technology, and they had to cross the entire desert from start to finish. So 2 years, and there is a lot of colleges which participated in it. Um, I think Purdue, Caltech, and many other colleges. And I forget, I think it was Caltech which had won the competition for 2 years in a row, and it was under a person called Professor Sebastian Thurn, and who is also associated with Google, the Google X, the division of Google, or Alphabets now. And he is also the founder of a website called Udacity. Now, Udacity was one of the first, you know, companies, or the first site to provide this online learning, and all other things then caught up. But what I'm trying to say is, there was a government defense contract which was basically needed by the defense system to develop an autonomous vehicle, and and the government decided that there are a lot more brains in the academia who can solve this problem for us. So they opened it up, and it was the college and the students and the professors who were in the college. There were college students like you who kind of solved these problems and got. And these things necessarily will not come to us if you don't have those accreditations and all those systemic things in place. So if you're thinking NBA accreditations and all these things, what they go through is just for a namesake and show, you are pretty wrong there. You have to do more research and see how these connects back. How to overcome nervousness during interviews? Talk to your friends. Ask if you can answer questions to your friends without being nervous. That is a start. Talk to someone who really, if you can pick up a conversation with some person whom you do not know, that is the next level which goes in. Use all the opportunities that you get in your classes and your colleges to attend seminars. Do present, talk, and that's how you get over nervousness. Talk in front of 1,500 people if you get a chance, or let me note your name. We will even try it today. We will give Prachi an opportunity in the end to say what she thinks about this particular session. When we complete, we will open the mic for Prachi, and you can get started even today. Sounds good, Prachi? You can just say yes in the chat if you heard that. Okay, I'm lost. Okay, we are done with Prachi. Mohammed, do companies prefer students who completed internship? Now it depends how you do your internship, and what you did for your internship. Yes, if it is something that is worthwhile, definitely it goes a long way in deciding that is you have an edge over others. That is, your resume gets picked, or you are called in to talk. Yeah, that is what it's going to accomplish. And then it goes back to the other things of knowing your basics and communicating what you did for your internship and all those things. So not necessarily, but if you have a good internship done, yes, it's definitely an urge. Okay, does entrepreneur require more money to build a new industry or a company? That's a very good question. Yes, the money is needed, but that is not always the starting point. Entrepreneur does not mean from day one you have a swanky office, you have a machine floor, or you have a room with 10 computers and people working for you, and on day two you have your product or whatsoever it is. It is a very gradual process, often painstaking, from an idea to realizing it. So that is how I would do it. So the most important aspect of an entrepreneur is to have that idea or to ideate a particular problem and have a solution to that particular problem, and then um, build the product or your service or your thing around it, and finally comes the monetization part. There are a number of ways which this can be um, addressed. From alumni, we are planning few programs which we would like to start in this avenue, um, to help more people get into this sort of an thing. So I'm pretty sure if you're thinking about it, you're thinking about your angel investors and venture capitalists and all those things. But what if we can set up something of that kind in our college itself, where you have an idea, you prepare a plan for it, and you give us, okay, you tell us this these are the steps and these are the things that I need, and you draw up a budget for it, and then we will see how that can be funded or something. So we cannot make a fund for $1 million or 1 crore rupees or a 10 lakh rupees and tell us. We don't have that kind of a money. But it is not the first step. Maybe it is step 542, but it is rarely step number one. So get your ideas, ideate, put it onto the papers, make a plan around it. That's a start. That is more vital than that. I hope that answers your question, Ijaz. Okay, Nosha, I am not sure I'm getting your question right, but you are asking, there is no a typical career path is, I believe it is same for everyone. You start at the bottom and you go on top. There will be only the outliers. I mean, no one starts as a CEO of a company. So everyone has to start at the bottom. That is inevitable, even if you are a one person. So today's, it is very high thing, right? So they will say it is a 1% startup. So it is a very swanky way of telling that, hey, I am the only person that I can afford right now, and it's only my time that I'm putting as the investment. So again, it goes back to the basics. If you're getting into a core company, know your basics, be ready to learn, put in a lot of hard work in terms of getting to know their process, their tools, and then applying your knowledge, what you have learned on it, on top of it, and also communicating with them what you can do, what you cannot do, what you would like to learn, and those kind of things, and you should be fine. Yes, Somanarayanan, definitely take the GATE exam. There are few alumni from our colleges who are really um, um, into these things. I'm not sure if you know Kaushik, but if you are really interested, I can really put across to him, and you can really see. Yes, take GATE, take IES. It's absolutely fine. If anything, it is going to increase your technical knowledge on it, and if you do good, also opens up a lot of avenues for you. So yeah, definitely, if you are looking at it, so definitely take the exams seriously. Okay, which company will recruit a full stack developer as a fresher? Rangarajan, um, can you type out what a full stack developer is? Go ahead, type it out. I'll come back to you, but do type it out what a full stack developer is. Okay, Prathi says, she says yes. You will get an opportunity while I wind the session down. How much CGPA should we get a good job? As high as possible? Yes. The higher the CGPA, the higher the chance of you getting a good job. There is no minimum level, and at least your starting job will be proportional to the CGPA that you get. Taking unfamiliar field as PG of my major, does it affect your career? So there is a reason why they called it an undergrad and postgraduate. There are few things which it might not affect. If you are referring to my situation where I did my undergraduation in electronics and my post graduation was in software systems, that was mainly because by the time I had 5 years of work experience, and a master's degree was going to further my opportunities in the current field which I was. So you have to analyze and take a turn. If you are going to do a PG right away after your undergraduation, then you definitely have to be in the allied subjects. Now you will have to look what specialization you do. That is entirely up to you and your interest and other things. But if you are planning to work for a couple of years and then decide what major or what you're going to do, then it also depends upon what work you're getting into, and it goes on from there. So it is very a subjective thing, but yeah, you cannot see masters is just and I'm trivializing it, but masters is an extension of your engineering which you did. So if you have completed your bachelor's degree and you have a year of work, then pretty much apart, you can understand how a particular subject or what are the wants of a particular subject that you want to get into. So it is very subjective. You have to take the decision according to your situation. Why do I say no one start as a CEO? Well, it is a very fancy term. I'm pretty sure I can say a CEO, but am I a CEO? Do you know what a CEO does? How do you, or simply Rahul, try to define a CEO, and then we'll go on from there. So I stand by my point saying that no, you cannot start as a CEO. It might look very swanky and good to hear. Hey, I started as a CEO, but in reality, no one starts as a CEO. What are the other skills you need to develop, Priya? So I think these are pretty much the things which you should develop and imbibe while in college, and also kind of keep working on it when you move to a professional career. So keep learning, keep updating your technical stuff, keep communicating, improve your communication skills, and then when you move on up the ladder, then there are other things which comes in terms of your productivity, how do you manage your time, then your leadership, your ability to probably run a team or run a division. All those things comes with time, and by the time you would have experience, and then it takes on to other things in terms of taking risks. Your ethics is very, very important. That is one thing which we should all start practicing in our college itself. If you have a very strong ethics, you will be very successful without a lot of problems. Even otherwise you will be successful, but I cannot guarantee you that you will not have problems. But if you are very ethical, you will definitely be successful. I can vouch for that. Which is better, working on core company or an IT sector? It depends, Shweta. um, both at the end of the day, both are jobs. um, it depends upon how you want to further your career. It does not matter if you work on a core IT sector or a core or a software company. Um, it aligns to your interest, your technical abilities, and how you carry on from there. There is no point in regretting after 20 years of doing software saying that no, I did not join the core. You might have that regret, but if you have done your job well in your IT field, then you definitely will not have that regret. So there is no there is no better work. Work is work, be it launching rockets or writing code. Work is work, so there is no better work. What makes it better is our perception. When you say your friend has a better work, maybe he is learning more. Or when you say your friend has a better work, maybe she's traveling a lot due to work, or she's not stressed due to work. So that's what make your works better. One factor which might be defining is what kind of problems you're solving. That again is very personal. um, so if the solutions or the problems that you're solving is gratifying for you, you will enjoy the work more, and it really does not matter uh, what you do, because at the end of the day what you're doing in work is imbibing technical knowledge and applying it to be successful or to attain a particular end result, which is often planned as to be good. So that's there. But as an engineering student, if you ask me, it again depends upon you. If you can afford that time, what happens, this is always the thing which kind of brings to me to the next topic in terms of um, your core sectors will pay you much less um, in terms of money. Let's say, because I think that's what is in mind. The core companies will pay you less, but if you see an over a period of time, a person working in a core company and a person working in IT sector, let's say after 10 years or 15 years, both of you will be in the same position, give or take. So um, that's the answer. Who works on front end and back end? Okay, front end is usually defined as what the user sees. Maybe your website, um, and those things. A backend is usually defined as something which does the bulk of the processing or your business logic. So developers work on both, and then people who work on front end or the web developers are UI UX developers. They call themselves front end developers. People who work on the core, not core, on the back end, which actually processes this data, they call themselves backend developers. So it has a different skill set. Both of them define a different skill set, but they are equally complex, and they have the tooling is different for both. um, but I really don't see a distinction why it should matter. Can you attach the e-certificates online webinars? Yes, you can attach, um, but I mean, if you attend an e-certificate which says that you attended my talk, it's not going to be that much of a worth. But if you had really presented a particular paper or a particular project, and if the college can certify it, then yeah, definitely it goes a long way in separating you or showing you out from others. Definitely. Cost of living freshers, Akash, you're getting too ahead of yourselves. Don't worry about all those things. um, So those are not the things that you should worry about when you are in your final year. Or cost of living, companies, how much will they pay, and all those things. So I'll come back to you. So don't worry about how companies respond to it. So companies mostly are, all companies, the companies in Bangalore will pay you accordingly to Bangalore cost of living, and companies in Chennai will pay accordingly. But that really does not matter, at least at this level. Pragya, I really do not know what as an engineering knowledge test is. I have to Google it. But I don't think that is needed to pursue masters. You have your basic degree. You do your GATE if you're trying to pursue it in India, or any of these management exams, or you take up and apply appropriately in your abroad universities, and you should get through based on your marks and all those things, your interest. I don't think EKT or engineering knowledge test is a prerequisite, but will it help you? Yes, it will definitely help you. It is again one avenue where you can test your knowledge, get to know what you do not know, and work on your things that you should work on. Would you explain jobs related to IoT, Internet of Things? Okay, around IoT. So I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical about IoT, but there is this company called Nest. I do not know the IoT scenario in India because it's mostly the startups which do your IoT. I want to control your bulb via internet. I have your home automation. I have all those things. So not really. IoT. See, IoT is just another application of all the things that you have learned. But otherwise, IoT as a standalone industry, I don't think there is much to it. They will tell you that it is trying to go back. I mean, it is very fastly growing and all those things, but I'm yet to see something, some real problem that is being solved with IoT. Okay, what are the skills you should develop if you enter into an IT sector? Definitely, you would need the programming skills to do it. Learn a good programming language. You should have your analytical and problem solving skills in terms of your algorithms and those things. Yes, your communication is very, very important. You have to communicate to the interviewer. If you are very serious about it, do start maintaining a blog or a GitHub page where you can put in your projects. If you can showcase to the recruiters that you have your own GitHub page where they can take a look at your progression of your programming skills, then that's more than enough. But you should definitely have your programming skills. I think we have gone way past our time, but there are only a couple of things that I would like to say before we wind up the session. Maybe another 5 minutes. Is that fine, ma'am?
Yes, sir. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah. So I answered few questions, right? There are some intangible things or avenues where we really don't pay that much of attention when it comes to how you proceed your career. Sir, can you mute your line? Ilango sir, can you mute your line? Okay. Anyways, so let's say you have successfully attended the interview, you have got a job, and you have, so once you've got a job, it means that you have passed the basic criteria of having the required technical knowledge and the attitude and the communication skill to perform your job, and you go there. And then what happens? You are put into a professional environment. Then then the allied things come into the thing, in terms of your planning, your productivity, your, how you collaborate with others, and ethics. How ethical you are uh, in the job that you work on is very, very important. With all these things comes, inevitable thing is the pay. Okay, so you are going to be paid for your work, and with that comes good, both good and the bad problems. One, you immediately start comparing yourself with others, saying that, oh, I am in a core company, I am getting 8,000 rupees. He is in a software company, he is earning 30,000 rupees, and hence, I am my job is not as good as his. No, that is wrong. If you are able to see past this initial period, and do a long term projection or scenario at the end of 10 years, where you will be in a core company and where you will be in a software company, is going to be more or less the same. So don't decide your careers based on your pay and your titles. They will give you swanky titles. They will say you are I mean, people with 5 years of experience, they will say you are associate vice president or director. Startups give you all these names to attract talents. That is one way where you attract talents, but the title itself does not mean much. It goes back to the question, why can't you start as a CEO? Yes, you can call yourself a CEO, but do you have the experience of a CEO? No. The answer is no. It is outright no. Not even, I cannot even think of one person who called himself CEO just when he started. No. I really cannot agree on those things. But yes, so don't pay much attention to your pay and your designation. When I say don't pay much attention, it is not ignoring kind of a thing, but it really does not. It's not hold your merit. This thing. The second thing is, give back. Give back to whatever industry you are in terms of, not always it should be in terms of money. It most often than not, it is about your time, how you mentor people, also how you collaborate among others. So those kind of things, you definitely have to give back to your industry, or to your school, or to your college, or to your society. Like, give back. It is a very good character to have. So if you ask me to kind of give you small one-liners, it would be, prioritize your work over your pay and your title. Prioritize your collaboration over individual successes, and always give back to your industry, whatever field that you are working in. So you will, I mean, there will be, every one of you will be successful. There is no question about no. Every one of you, everyone who is attending this will be successful, but um, how you reach that point is extremely important. It is not only the brilliant people succeed, but people who work systematically and put in hard work will definitely be successful, and they'll be as successful as any other person, maybe. So that's there. So if there are any more questions, I think the chat has fallen silent. I'm happy to answer, or I will pass on my email to ma'am. Anyone can, if you have any questions, ask me to it. And sir, if you can just unmute Prachi. Prachi, you can take the rest of the 5 minutes what you have, and honestly, let me know like what do you. Is there any takeaway from this, and hence your opportunity?
Sir, in webinar jam, we cannot take call from the opposite.
Oh, you cannot. Oh, that's sad.
Take call from opposite. Oh. It's like a web
okay.
cast.
Okay, that's very that's very sad. Prachi, are you still there? Okay, we will find definitely find some other avenue for Prachi to work on it, but probably not today. Maybe you will have a lot of opportunities in the college setting to get it back. So thanks in everyone. If you have any questions, I will take it. What are the programming languages required for core companies? When you say core companies, you're talking about electronics, which I assume because this is only about electronics and communication thing. Be strong in your simulation software, basically your MATLAB. If you can get around your MATLAB things, that is more than enough. And more often than not, it is going to be either your C or C++, which is used in most of these core companies. But yeah, Python is one of the programming languages which you can work, which is very, very versatile and used in a lot of things. Yeah, so learn your MATLAB, get around your MATLAB, your simulations, your simulation software, and if you can get a hold of C, C++, and Python, then very, very good.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very informative session, and thanks for addressing the query posted by our participants. Thank you so much, sir.
Yep,
it's my
thanks.
privilege. Thank you, sir. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on the behalf of the EC department and the volunteers, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our correspondent, Dr. K.S. Lakshmi, our secretary, Dr. K.S. Babe, our principal, Dr. P.K. Suresh, and our dean academics, Dr. K. Umarani, to motivate us and guide us in a successful manner. I would like to thank our speaker, Mr. Rajesh Kumar, for taking out valuable time from his busy schedule and sharing his knowledge with us and enlightening us with his presence. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank our department head, my colleagues, and the technical team of the event. Thank you, one and all. Also, I'd like to extend a special thanks to our participants of the event for patiently being with us. And I hope all your queries have been addressed. On the whole, I would like to thank Almighty God for the success of this event. Thank you so much, sir. And the feedback link is posted in the chat box. Participants, you can fill the feedback form as it's been there only for a limited time. Once the feedback form is filled, your e-certificates will be generated. It will be sent to your respected mail IDs. So the session will be on air for another 15 minutes. So those who have not filled the feedback form, kindly fill the feedback form, and the certificates will be generated only when the feedback form is filled.